Hey everyone, so I'll chat back in the video, and today we're going to be going over the top 8 epic ascension traits. So who should you be using your epic arcanas on? I made a video about this a long while ago, but I'm going to give you the top 8 that you could focus on in order for you to get maximum value out of those arcanas. So let's jump into it. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the top 8 epics in descending order, starting with the number 1 slot and then moving down to the number 8. And it's important to note that when I'm discussing the traits, I also be discussing the level 1, 3, 4, those types of levels of ascensions and whether or not those are valuable to go for, not just the level 2 or level 5 traits themselves. And I'm also going to be going over what game modes and areas you're going to use these characters and their traits in. So the number 1 slot's going to go to Nathalia, who's in the background right here. And we can just go hop into the Ascension menu here, and we click on to Ascension 2. On the right, you'll see the Ascension traits. And for this one, Nathalia is just absurdly strong as a damage dealer. This trait is one of the reasons why she is so strong as a damage dealer. If she has a buff, forever, how many buffs she actually has, she's going to get an additional 10% damage up to 40%. Now, I'm not going to go over the trait itself, just the upgrade that you get from the Ascension ability, because obviously you're going to get the trait no matter what. It's really about what you're getting from the potions. And this, you're getting basically a 40% damage increase on your Nathalia as long as you have those 4 buffs. Now, normally you'll have at least 2 buffs because she self-buffs. So if you run like a Connor, for example, you'll get the attack buff. Maybe the shield drops out, but you'll get 20% more damage. Super massive. She's one of the only people that can clear Ash 12 and Ash 14, as well as just a staple in so many different areas where you actually need damage. Her Ascension 1 is actually very good, and I'd recommend you put a potion, even if you only have 1, into Nathalia. Getting that base attack is huge. And actually, I want to recommend that her Ascension 3 is very good as well. I wouldn't recommend her Ascension 3 over some of the other traits themselves on this list, but if you happen to kind of have some of the really core traits down, dropping in a potion at Ascension 3 is not bad at all. I did it myself because 15 speed can help you reach those speed tunes without actually messing up your gear too much. Next up is going to be Santis, who happens to be right next to Nathalia. And we're just going to jump into the Ascension trait menu here. Santis' trait is an Ascension 5 trait. And the big difference you're getting from Ascension 2 and Ascension 5 is instead of having a 50% chance to apply poison, you are guaranteed to apply an additional poison if they're already affected by poison when you use an ability. This trait is super massive for dungeon clearing in general. It'll help you speed up all your runs and make some runs even possible due to the fact that you're killing people in time. Specifically Ash and Queen, the Ascension 5 trait comes into huge effect. Now, her trait is amazing and absolutely great for dungeons, but really, I would not recommend you use any potions on her in general, unless you're very close to the Ascension 5. She's a fusible character, so you can go ahead and drop some fusions into her, and then if you need 1 or 2 potions in order to get to that Ascension 5, I would recommend you go ahead and do that. But I first would recommend use the fusions if you can, and then if you're really close, use 1 or 2 potions at the maximum, because this is an Ascension 5, and honestly, the rest of the Ascensions 1 through 4 don't really mean too much. The extra defense and the extra HP at a 3 and 4 can matter a little bit, but overall, I wouldn't worry about it unless you can actually get the Ascension 5. Now, the next up is going to be Hackron, and yes, he did get nerfed, but his trait didn't get touched pretty much at all. His is Ascension 2 trait, and instead of granting 10% defense bonus to the rest of your team based on his defense rating, you're going to get double that, which is 20%. So let's just go back and check out our Hackron's defense. This is no gear on him. He's got 1600 defense. So let's just assume you're running a 1600 defense Hackron, which you're definitely not going to be. But if you are, you're going to be sharing 320 defense to the rest of your squad. That is a massive increase, because if we go ahead and check over at Nathalia here, she has a base defense of 913, so it's basically like, since you're only going to be running that defense chest piece, you're basically getting a massive 20 to 25% increase in their defense, which is huge for survivability. Now, I do recommend that you go ahead and fuse Hackron, again, same as Santis. He's only 2 ascensions, you should be able to get him without dropping any potions into him. And I wouldn't recommend that you drop any potions in regards to the later ascensions like 3, 4, or 5. Now, it is important to note that the Ascension 5 is the base defense increase, and that one is very, very good. And the 4th one is speed, and that one's also very, very good. And you're going to use Hackron in all the dungeons, in Void Tower, in Arena even. He can be used, so very, very good character in Hackron. Now, next up at number 4 is going to be William, and William is absolutely amazing here. And the reason why we're using William's trait is because he's just going to increase the basic ability damage of all your team members. It goes from 40 to 60% when you get that Ascension 2, which is very, very valuable. He's going to be used in your early game campaign squads, your skill dungeons, your endless trials, your void tower, your arena, and even in some speed comps later on. He's very, very good in the Urzag plus William combination that I've been showcasing on stream. Very, very essential there. So he has some late game uses and very, very early game carry in regards to this trait. I do not recommend that you actually build or use the potions on him unless you can actually get to that Ascension 2, because his Ascension 1 and his Ascension 3 and all that type of stuff is just extra tankiness, and he's already so tanky and he probably won't die anyways. So it's really about Ascension 2 or not at all. And then the next one is someone that I actually pulled very recently, although you cannot use the potions into her because she's like dark, and that is Marion Shadowblood. Now, Marion Shadowblood's trait basically changes this joint attack chance from a 30% chance to a 100% chance if you go ahead and stack a bunch of speed onto her. This changes from her just occasionally getting a joint attack to joint attacking every round and doing a ton more damage, basically acting as a better poisoner because she does true damage on her basic based on the max HP. So it's very, very good, and it basically can be used anywhere in any of the dungeons as a poisoner would, or in Void Tower as someone who can break into Mythic Void Tower from based on the previous rotation of Void Tower. Excellent, excellent trait here. Next up, we have Zatlux, and this one is quite good, although I think some of the other Ascensions are actually a little bit better on him. So the Ascension 2 you get from Zatlux is going to be, you get the attack up if you actually kill someone. So this is very, very nice in certain circumstances. One of the circumstances is Void Tower, although he drops off later on in the game. And then the other one is Campaign. And another one is Speed Dungeon Farming, where you have someone go in front of Zatlux and they kind of whittle down someone, and then Zatlux comes in. He's able to kill off that one unit, but he can't kill off another one from full HP unless he had that attack up. That's where the trait comes in handy, and it's very good, and I do recommend that you put some potions into him if you're looking in order for you to start doing some Queen 12, speeding up your Queen 12 runs, which I think is still viable even though Queen 14 exists, because of the fact that you're going to be trying to get some gear from Queen 12, and it will take you a little while. This trait's also effective in Queen 14 in some scenarios if you don't quite have the stats. But I think that Ascension 1 and actually Ascension 3 are more important on Zatlux. I think investing a potion for that base attack and that base speed is going to increase the amount of gear that you can run on him and basically overall increase your success rate of your account in general. Very, very much look out for those Ascension 1 and Ascension 3 on Zatlux. Next up is someone that's very, very exciting, and that is going to be Virgil here. And Virgil's trait is going to be an Ascension 2. Now, really what you're getting from the Ascension upgrade from Virgil is instead of having a 20% chance, you're going to have a 40% chance of applying Arcane Sanction on the enemy at the end of their turn, which is basically a double chance to do that. Now, this is super, super important for dungeons if you're using him in there, which is basically where I see a big use for him. He can be used in Arena and some Void Tower, but if you're using him in dungeons, this is where you're going to want to go ahead and get this trait. If not, don't worry about this trait. It's worth putting in some potions because this will speed up your run significantly, just getting this double chance in order to proc the Arcane Sanction. Now, his 15 speed is quite nice on Ascension 1, especially if you're using him in Arena and Void Tower. After that, it doesn't really matter. His base attack is cool and all that good stuff, but really it's all about Ascension 1 and Ascension 2 for Virgil. And then the last one that we actually have on the list is going to be Antinua. Now, the reason why I didn't put Antinua's a little bit higher is because I think that this trait really only takes an effect when you're doing longer battles. So really when you're doing Guild Boss. Now, if you're doing Guild Boss, this trait is excellent, and she can have this trait be useful for other game modes. But really all you're getting is that it's going to be applied basically every 4 rounds instead of at the start of battle. So you're getting it basically refreshed, this passive that she has, especially in Guild Boss when you're doing long battles. It'll come in handy quite a bit. It's actually really, really important to note that the base attack is very, very important on Antinua and worth a potion. And actually the Ascension for the speed can come in handy, especially for Guild Boss and for Void Tower comps. So keep an eye out for those. But overall, I think that most people, when you're running a damage dealer at an epic slot, putting in that first potion in is very, very useful because you're going to get that 15% attack. And then if you're not running a damage dealer, don't worry about the first ascension. Really just go for their trait. I think that the ascensions for the damage dealers, that first ascension is worth a lot. And everyone else kind of just go for their trait. So there you have it. Go for Nathalia, go for Hackron, go for Santis, go for William, and all that good stuff. I do want to mention that there's one honorable mention on my list, and that is going to be Winstrex. I don't think that her trait is particularly amazing. It's very, very niche use, and it's Ascension 5. But her Ascension 2 is very, very good because she's literally a speed bot, and you're going to want to build a lot of speed on her. So her Ascension 2 with 15 speed is immensely valuable. And so if you're struggling in Arena earlier on in the game, or you're struggling to reach those speeds and get her tanky to survive Void Tower, getting that 15 speed can help you out quite a bit there. So that's going to be my whole list. Again, at the end of the day, invest your potions into Nathalia. That's kind of my, at the end of the day. And go for some of the fusion characters, try to fuse them. But it's actually worth investing some potions into them, even if you don't have the fusion materials. So that'll be it for this video. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you for the next one.